All righty, good morning. Welcome to the Fife Property Show. It's 9:30 Saturday morning. It's nice and crisp outside, so I'm definitely going out for a walk after this. Selling in December, the winter magic to launch or restart your move in Fife. Guess what? Best time of year to sell. And we're going to tell you why, because you're sitting scratching your head thinking, this isn't the time of year to sell at all. It absolutely is, and I'll tell you why, and we'll go through the process of why it is, and we'll also tell you the top tips to get that information, get that deal, get that best price, get the best negotiation for you as well, and the best circumstances and terms conditions. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. That's what our job is. That's why people get us for our benefit. Okay, on the show today, we have, hi guys, Perry and Jim.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you guys today?
Yeah, just scoffed a bacon roll down my throat, so yeah.
I was sat and watched it. God, I would rather not have that image in my mind.
It wasn't pretty. Yeah, I'm fantastic. As you say, it's a beautiful morning, so that's nice. The dog's kind of bouncing around in that easy garden, so it's great.
I mean, December is the month like no other, isn't it? I mean, there's Christmas lights, festive cheer everywhere. You go. Everybody's thoughts are turning to New Year, new beginnings, and all the rest of it. But the reality is, it's the mindset. It's like a lot of people actually switch off for Christmas about maybe 14th, round about then. Everybody gets their party hats and their happy hats on. But the reality is, it is the best time of year. If you're selling your home, the Boxing Day bounce, this is the key here, brings the largest audience to the property portals, with 2020 seeing Rightmove and ours biggest ever Christmas audience, up a whopping 54% on 2019. So that's over and above the audience of 2019. We were actually a lot more than that. But the Boxing Day bounce is a big, big thing, isn't it?
I think it is. I mean, it's a magical time of year, isn't it? And people are very focused. And I think it's a time when you're spending more time in your home, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So people start to think about, actually, is this the home for them? And maybe they should look at something else. And you've got time on your hands, so you're able to sit and troll the net as well, which you don't generally have, do you?
That's the key. It's the people will just jump onto the net and they start watching, they start looking at the portals, and that's where all the bonuses are done.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think that people enjoy that kind of, as I say, the magical feeling of it, isn't it? It's excitement time of year, and you've got your fires on, your lights on. There's lots of nice things about it. So it's quite a welcoming time as well if you've got people coming to see a house. So, but people kind of get put off with it because they think, actually, it's too messy. I've got too much to do. There's a lot going on. Family's busy. It doesn't necessarily work like that.
Yeah. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on this time of year?
As you probably can guess, kids running riot, that's for sure.
Christmas is coming.
Christmas. But I think there's some people of the opinion that having the Christmas decorations up and the houses look more cluttered, but you got to think this is a time when family comes together. And having Christmas decorations up, lights, they're going to see themselves having Christmases and events and stuff like that at their home. So I think it's a great time of year to sell. And I don't know everything we discussed there, so I don't want to go and say too much about certain things about how to get better price and why it's a good time to sell right now.
We'll always cover these things. So as well as these regular happenings in 2021 shortage of supply, it's really the shortage of supply that's driving this market, isn't it?
100%, yeah. I think I looked, what did I look last? Maybe yesterday or the day before. I think there's 1,200 properties sold or under offer in Fife just now.
And how many is on the market just now then? Oh, let's take a look at that. I'm going to jump on our website and have a look at that now. You guys could talk among yourselves.
last time I looked, there was about 480 available in Fife, and you think 1,200 are under offer, so 2/3 of the market under offer. That's a crazy number.
Because before lockdown, that was, what was that, 1,200 or more on the market?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think the last time I sort of looked, it was around about. Remember you telling us a stat about 49% of properties are selling within the first 2 weeks as well. So, and even more so, I would say that's driving right now with everybody. A lot of people that I'm going out to see just now say, "I'll wait till after Christmas. I'll wait till after Christmas. I'll wait till after Christmas." And I ask why.
Give me your best guess here. Who's nearest? I reckon 440.
431.
I'd say 470.
Here we go. 417?
Oh my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Now we're selling, every single estate agent is selling around about just over 500 properties a month, which means we're down to a fifth of that, which means, quick calculation, if you take that 4 and divide it by 417, divide it by 500, 83%, 83% times 30, basically 25 days stock.
Mm-hmm.
Every single estate agent across Fife has 25 days stock available. That means if everyone didn't sell their house for 25 days, this would all be sold and there'd be nothing else to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing that, aren't we, though, as well, though, Jimmy, with our daily activities and the amount of people that are still looking to buy that are missing out on property because the properties are selling so quick. So you've got such a multiple number all going for one thing, which is great for the seller. Yeah,
let's say a couple of good mornings. Good morning, Angela. How are you? Any questions, please feel free to ask them. Good morning, Jeanette. How are you? Now, Jeanette asked, this is a good one. How is it for putting a rental property on? Is it too late? Absolutely not, Jeanette. Properties at this time of year will rent, no bother. People want to be in a home possibly before Christmas, or they want to plan it for just after Christmas. Now is definitely the time. I'll actually take a quick look at the rental market as well while we're on. So you guys talk amongst yourself. I'm going to quickly look at the rental market.
I would say to Jeanette as well, a good time of year is some people might want to move before Christmas. Some people might be able to move after. So she'll probably have more people inquiring and be able to have a more choice of tenants who she wants in her property.
Right. Best guess on Fife, how many properties for rent? Right through at Fife with all the estate agents? How
41.
many?
41.
I reckon probably about 70.
55. I'll go in the middle.
Remember, this is a statistic. When you think about it, there's 370,000 people in Fife. There's 170,000 households in Fife. And this is the amount of properties up for rent just now. 68. 68 properties. That's mental. How on earth? There's a huge demand out there. So what's happening, Jeanette, is when a property comes onto the market, it immediately gets inquiries and you're able to cherry pick for the best tenants. That's really what it comes down to. So it is absolutely, this time is definitely the time. This is actually an interesting comment as well. Cairns, come on. Cairns, our letting agent. Always people looking to get moved in for Christmas. That's from Cairns. Cairns in our rental department, Jeanette. So definitely we could get your house rented before Christmas easily and get somebody committed to moving in. The key here is just making sure that you've got the right person for the right circumstances. Key here is they're going to look after your property. They're going to pay the rent on time. You're going to look after them, and you're going to do what's necessary to make sure they're kept in the comfort that they should deserve for being a tenant, basically. It's you've got a duty of care as a landlord, really. That's what it comes down to. So this time of year is definitely a good time to rent, definitely a good time to sell. It's been a good time to rent and sell over the last 30 years, to be honest. I've been doing this for 30 years as a landlord, and the rental market's always been booming regardless of what economy and what state and what time of year it is. There's always somebody out there looking to move at some point in time. As I've explained to you, 370,000 people in Fife, and there's only less than 70 properties on the market for rent. How many do you think are looking to move? Probably a fairly a good amount. And plus the fact there's people actually selling their house as well that want to move to rented accommodation, and they're chasing these properties as well. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. The tenant gets a really good quality home because that's all we'll take on board for us. Then you get a good quality tenant as well. Win-win for everybody.
I think if you ask a lot of people if they're in their dream home and what percentage would actually say yes, probably not very many. So if the right property comes up, I would say most people are would move if their dream home come up.
Yeah, that would be an instant poll. If you're in your dream home, would anybody want to admit that on the show? If you're in your dream home or not.
I've
got the home I want. That's really it. I've got bigger aspirations. So I hope to say it before I wanted to live in a castle. And at one point, I actually considered buying Kelly Castle because it was up for sale for 600,000 many years ago. But then I thought to myself, didn't be stupid, Jim. It's like, just didn't be stupid, and get that out of your head for one thing. So I'm actually really content where I am. It's exactly what I am, exactly where I'm going. I know where I'm going. I know what my next steps are, and it's just a matter of time. And it's just a matter of time before I get there. That's the reality. Anyway,
exactly. But a lot of people are not though, Jim. So that's why this show's a great help for them.
Absolutely, and the key is, if you've got someone that's done it before, they can teach you how to do it again. That's really what it is. It's about understanding the dynamics. So if I want to learn from someone in a certain field, I'll go and talk to them. I'll go and find out who they are, and I'll go and learn from what they are. If you want to learn how to get your dream home, you need to have people that have their dream home. Me. And you, Perry, and everybody else involved. So the reality is, we help people find dream homes. We help them find what they exactly want for their point in time and period in time. That's really
before we just nip on from Jeanette's comment as well, one of the things I'd like to share, whilst I'm in my dream home now, Jeanette, and we talked about the rental market and the amount of people that are rushing to try and get into rental and are struggling to find it. It's really important as well that you do have a very good agent, because that makes all the difference. I mean, I know when I sold and then went into rental before I bought this property, it was a real challenge trying to actually find a property and actually get even sometimes just to see one on the rental market. And I didn't work for Fife Properties at the time, but I tell you, these guys were brilliant. And Karen actually was my agent, and she was fantastic. So if you've got someone who trusts and looks after you and understands your circumstances, they really do work hard to kind of trying to deliver for you. So I just wanted to make that little comment because I've experienced it as well.
Brilliant. Okay. As well as the regular happenings for 2021, shortage of supply means that buyers are still actively looking for their next home. With the talk of interest rates rising in the early 2022, there's a real motivation to settle on somewhere soon and to lock in the current mortgage deals, basically fixed rate mortgages. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, a lot of people are actually fixing their mortgages now. I think mainly about 90% of people are actually fixing mortgages now. You're getting it at brilliant rates now. You're getting 5-year deals. You're getting 2.5% over 5 years. If interest rates go up, you don't need to worry about it. And that's another thing you need to really look at yourself. This all means that there's plenty of opportunity if you're keen to sell this winter. Whether you're looking to switch agents or restore momentum or simply get a head start to the new year, if you're thinking about selling the new year, you need to start planning it now. Because what's going to happen is you'll get to the new year and then you'll have to start planning it from then. And then you'll be 2 or 3 months down the road. Sometimes it just doesn't happen like that, because there are certain things you have to do in your procedure that you might not know about. So it's not knowing what you don't know is the key here. So that's why you speak to an expert in their field in order to understand what you need to know to get to the next steps. So sometimes it's not a simple case of just putting your house in the market. It's getting the right advice first before you start that process, so you do it right in the first place. And I mean, it's all about the mortgage deal. It's all about, if you want to have a mortgage, if you want to get rid of your mortgage, if you want to refurbish your house, if you think you should be refurbishing your house, if you think you shouldn't be refurbishing your house, you still need to get advice on it, because we'll know exactly what people will respond to and how you add the most value to your home and get the biggest audience at the best circumstances. This all means there's plenty of opportunity around, as I said. So let's take a look at how you can use the spirit of the season and this year's biggest online audience to move to the moving advantage. Do you want to kick off with the first one, Perry? Time for switching agents.
I think time to switch agents is a good thing. I mean, some people, we're talking about how quick property is going, but there are situations where actually it doesn't sell for whatever reason. And it could be that the right buyer hasn't come along yet. It could be that it's not been marketed properly. It could be that they're just not getting that emotive connection with the audience out there that are looking. So do you leave things to the new year, or do you swap now, get things done, get everything organised, as you say, get yourself ready to go to market to take advantage of that Boxing Day bounce and that increased market that's going to be out there, because people are still driving towards that motivation to move.
Yeah, there is an expectation that everybody thinks their house will sell within a couple of weeks or 3 days or 4 days, and you hear that in commonplace all the time, don't you, Jimmy?
It makes me laugh. It really does. When I'm taking inquiries, they say, "I got a property to sell," and they always, I've never heard anybody, although the only comment I hear is, "I've got a property to sell, but it will sell really quickly though."
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to tell me it's going to take 4 months to sell, are you? You want to come and see one of our properties.
Yeah.
But the reality is that's not the case. And they've probably not even had someone looked around. But everybody loves their home. Everybody thinks their home is the greatest property on the market and it should be selling quickly. But the reality is there's stuff that you need to have in place.
Well, that is the key, isn't it? It's making sure it's making sure you've got your ducks lined up in a row in order to achieve that, isn't it, Perry?
Absolutely is. I mean, and switching agents will automatically give you a shiny new audience over the Christmas period as well. But it's not just about that. It's about being prepared. And actually, you know, if you've got an agent, do you need to give them a notice period? And how long is that notice period? And can you move on to another agent? And how quickly can that all happen for you? You know, so whilst the new agent may potentially be able to do things quickly for you, do you actually know what your terms and conditions are with your current situation and what timelines you need to work to allow you to be able to go out there and attract that new audience? So if anybody's out there who is in that situation, it's maybe a good time to investigate that and give yourself that opportunity to get yourself that chance to go out there and get that extra connection with the audience over this busy period that's coming up.
It's difficult. It's difficult to switch an agent. I mean, somebody like me, I'm quite loyal to people. It takes a lot for me to actually go ahead and actually come away from them, if that's the case, in anything I do, because my thing is all about loyalty, and it's almost like, you know, it's almost like 3 strikes or even 4 strikes or 5 strikes before I'll actually do anything about it, and that's quite surprising probably for a lot of people to hear. But I still believe that everybody's got the chance, and I try to tell them as much as possible what they need to do in order to get that result they're after. So what we're not doing is we're not telling people they should be switching agents. We're giving them the best advice. You can go back to your agent as well and discuss with them about, you know, is the photographs right? Is the description right? Is the price point right? It's amazing how many people get this price point wrong. They do the £995,000 and 50 pence and stuff like that. But in actual fact, they should be doing it on the bandings to make sure you actually get both sides of the audience on the websites. So there's a lot of different things, and it's not just the one thing that will cause the problem with your property not selling or not getting enough activity. It's sometimes a combination of all of them. And we've talked about this yesterday in our meeting about compounding and how all these incremental changes in even a description, and like the price point, the description, maybe the photographs aren't just right. Maybe there's something putting somebody off. Maybe the lead photograph's wrong. Maybe all these different things are compounding to stop that audience actually inquiring.
Yeah, it can be that, can't it? And at the end of the day, you're right. It's not about necessarily switching, and that isn't what we're directing here. But we're happy to give advice, you know. So I mean, even if someone's out there and they're inquiring about it or they're thinking about why is it not happening for them, then reach out and just ask the questions, you know, and we can help you, guide you, and whatever you're needing to achieve what you want to achieve.
There's people that
I'm sure I got that inquiry last Christmas. I'm sure somebody actually phoned me up from another audience in the St Andrews area from another estate agent they were on with, and they actually wanted my advice on something. And I actually told them exactly what to do, and they got the result. You know, it's perfect. I mean, I didn't, you know, I sold it, but the reality is they were on with another agent, and it's no skin off my nose at the end of the day. But it was actually to get the best result for them. That's what we're here for. At the end of the day, you know, if we get paid, it's a byproduct of what we do well. And I always kind of look at it like that. I don't actually look at we're after the money first. It's like, no, we'll get the job done first. Then we get paid as a byproduct of what we do. And we do it very well, so we get paid very well. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I would say as well, there's a little bit off topic, but there's never been an easier time to sell properties than it is right now. But not everybody's the same, and that's where I think you'll both agree we're different. We'll do everything we can to get the sale. We do everything we can to market your property, do everything we can to get the best price, do everything we can to get the time frame right, to secure the property that you want in the future, negotiate what you want in the future, even if that comes down to that. So there's a lot of things that you need to know and have in line, and I think that's why we're different than everybody else.
Here's the pun: the Boxing Day bouncers crackers. What do I mean by that? Well, Boxing Day sales don't just apply to shops on the high street. For the property portals, it's the festive season is the annual peak of activity. And it's like what you say, Perry. Everybody kind of gets Christmas out of the way, and then they go into Boxing Day, and it's like, what do I do now? And some people go out for a walk and all the rest of it, but then there is a new attention. It's like that goal setting. It's like when you get up that hill and then you realise there's just another hill to climb after it. So it's kind of like that, and then you start on that journey for the next hill, and that's kind of how people treat the Boxing Day bounce and the Boxing Day period. But is it just the browsers with no intention of getting off the couch? Do genuine buyers hibernate at the end of November to emerge sometime in January? Of course, more window shoppers look online over Christmas, but it would be crazy to assume that everyone thinking about buying a home was actively giving the portals a miss. Because we do, even though the Boxing Day bounce comes in, and even though when you list your property, it's all the people that are still registered with you on the websites. It actually still get that notification that property is going live. And that's what a lot of people don't realize as well. They have to physically go there and actually look at a website. But this is why we use active campaigning on social media and use retarget to actually retarget audience with money behind it. And we actually go and find the person on Boxing Day, as well as the person coming to find that property. So often people don't realize the property they're looking for is the property we've just put in front of them, if that makes sense. And then when they see it, they think, that then spurs them on and think, wait a minute, I'm actually looking, because then they investigate further. And then we know from that click through that they actually want to buy a property, therefore we can retarget them again. Simple data points. People don't realize that's what happens, and that's why you give all your data away to social media and Google and all these different places. And guess what we use to retarget? That's exact data. So we can go and find the exact audience we want for certain types of properties and certain audiences. There's simply no other week when so many people have so much time to look for a home. Isn't it?
It's true. 100%. It's true. It's a busy period as well, because you're rushing to all the Christmas kind of planning and everything that you're doing for your family. And then Christmas Day comes and goes, and then Boxing Day you kind of go, whew, and then it's that relaxing, and then you think, oh, right, what am I going to do now? And then they start the window shopping, as you say. And some people might window shop, but not every person is just out there having a wee nose. It's, as you say, Jim, there's that spark. Maybe they'll see something, they go, actually, yeah, now's right for me.
Yeah. So if they decide to go for a Boxing Day launch, 2 sets of photographs, one with your decorations and one without, so you can start the seasonal. You can start the seasonal with the scene, and then quickly swap over in 2022. And if you've got your decorations up already, don't worry, we can airbrush them all out.
Exactly. But there's nice ways to do it as well, because I mean, Christmas trees can be quite big, can't they? And they can take up quite a bit of space in a house. And interestingly, actually, a friend of mine shared something the other day. And it was a fabulous idea. I've never thought about it, and I'm going to do it myself. Is actually around the doorway. What she did is she fixed lights all around our doorway, and then with the little hooks connected baubles all the way around, made a garland almost around the doorway. Yeah. So it was like a kind of Christmas tree, but without being a Christmas tree, and it was fabulous, and it took up no space whatsoever.
I could just say bah humbug.
I'm similar to you, Jim. Our tree's not up yet.
Oh God, I should have had one of the other ladies on here with me then.
I was just thinking that is it a lady thing? Is it, or the guys out there want Christmas trees up? Do they bother? Anybody out there that's a guy, are you happy enough to put the Christmas tree up? Do you look forward to Christmas and all the rest of it? Or is it just something that's like, look, let's just get it over with and just get into the next year? That'll do me. Or let's get to New Year. Most people are like, let's get to New Year, party time.
Charlotte last week was like, oh, let's put the Christmas tree up. I was like, oh no, we're not all together. Let's do it next weekend. That was clearly just a delay tactic. So it's another week where I didn't have to get involved with that.
So decoration do's and don'ts. What's your thoughts on this? Decoration do's and don'ts. Anybody?
I would say,
I think it's a great thing. I think it adds cheer to the property, it adds colour, it adds sparkle, it adds warmth. And also, actually, some people do it. And, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. People are walking around houses when they're viewing, and they're actually considering where trees are going to go and things like that. So for them to see it, it's great. But I think you need to be very careful about where you position things. You don't want to be filling beautiful windows with trees and things like that. So you might actually have 2 sets and mix it up a little bit.
Well, look at the film Miracle on 34th Street, right? Look at the very end when they walk into the house that they've just bought on Christmas Day. And it's all decorated with Christmas decorations and everything like that. And you think to yourself, I would love to have a house like that. So so it is a do, isn't it? it does make people feel at home and welcome, and it is a seasonal thing. It's actually all about happiness and joy and family.
You've hit the nail on the head there. It is all about family, and when people are looking at a home, they're looking at it as a family, aren't they? They're not just looking at it from one person's perspective. So what might be important to me, where the tree goes, and what might be important to you guys in regards to where your sports equipment goes or whatever it is, and where the golf clubs are going to fit, Jimmy. It's all about family, though, isn't it, when we're making these choices and decisions?
I was just quite clinical and says it's where my computer goes in my office.
I would say that's why you need to think about who your audience is in regards to decorations. So if it is a family or a young family, a first-time buyer's home is going to start their family there. You've got to think, where's the feature room? Where are they going to be spending their time at Christmases, etc., and get it set up there, and you can see, so they can visualize and see where the family's going to come together, etc. So knowing your market and who you think's going to buy your property is the main thing.
There you go. There's James supporting the guy's side. Driving when he asked the question, bah humbug. Yep, but I have a wife who loves Christmas. Proper Santa Grotto for the weekend. There you go.
But the thing is as well, I don't think people should shy away from it if you're selling your house just now, because it's not like it's going to come as a surprise if you've got Christmas decorations up. You know, people are going to expect it. And actually,
I think people would be surprised.
Yeah.
If they walked in, it was totally clinical and it didn't have anything.
Exactly. And actually, it's a wee bit on trend as well to have Christmas stuff, you know, and people like it and they enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the whole thing about, you'd said yourself, Perry, it's the fairy lights trailing over the fireplace. You know, it's a winner at any time of year, really. I mean, a lot of people are actually still got their fairy lights up on the outside of their house all year round.
Yeah,
and it does every season. And it's not about overpowering the room. It's like what you said, Perry. It's not about overpowering the room. Christmas cards all over the place, is that a thing, or is it best putting them all in one place on a hanger?
Yeah, I think you absolutely need to do that. You can have your items out and your things you're collecting throughout the year, but you don't want to have it cluttered. So yeah, you know, sticking them on the walls and having them all on your cabinets and things like that is not necessarily a great idea. But actually, again, we've talked about this before about decluttering and how to make your house ready for viewings. You can have those things up and they're easily put away in a drawer, aren't they? And then you can take them back out again. So these are the sort of things that you can still enjoy your home and don't feel that you can't market your property because it's Christmas, because you can put them away, bring them out, and there's ways of making that nice and easy and tidy for yourself with little minimum hassle. So it can still be your home at Christmas, but you need to try and make it look like someone else's home for Christmas as well.
But then there's also the option, you can decorate your house and you can do everything possible. You could advertise it, and then you don't actually need to do the viewings until next year when everything's down.
True.
100%. What I would say to people like that who are telling me they want to wait into the new year or springtime, this is what I've been telling them. Would you rather put your house, let's just say Cooper, for example, would you rather list your house now in Cooper when there's 5 properties on the market, or would you rather list it in February, March when everybody else has listed it and you got to compete against 20 others?
Yeah.
When are you going to achieve more money?
You're going to achieve more money with a limited supply. You're actually going to, the more important thing, and this is key in this marketplace, the limited supply gives you a better, stronger negotiation position. So you could actually then dictate to people when your entry date is going to be, and they'll just accept it. And if you want a deposit up front, if your entry date is going to be longer, in other words, a security deposit, which is non-refundable, that's another key thing as well. And whether you want actually to agree, they want to conclude missives within a couple of months, if you've got an entry date of, say, 6 months or 9 months, so they can't back out. So they can't just get to the, like 6 months down the road and 2 weeks before it's due to settle, go, oh, well, I can't find the funding, or I found another place. It's key. The key things here to do is make sure to get concluded missives if you want to push it forward. Make sure you get the entry date you want, and make sure you get the price you want as well. And the price is almost guaranteed. It's the other things that are more important in that situation now. But equally as well, it's down to an agent having somebody that's actually can go back and negotiate a higher price. Often, the classic example is, ask yourself out there. This is the key question. Ask yourself out there, when you last bought your property and the agent you bought it from, at that time, would you have paid more money for your property? And if the answer to that question is yes, the agent you had at that point in time didn't do their job correctly because they didn't identify that and they didn't get that price for you. So why on earth would you go back to that agent and use them again? Madness, isn't it?
In the contrary to that, I often get sellers saying, "Are you sure? You're going to go and ask for more?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've primed them at the right level. I've asked the right questions. I know there's more there." And they're like, "Well, I don't want to lose that." And I can think of 3 occasions, with probably total up to over 100,000 that I've done that in that conversation. The most recent one was 31,000 extra. It would have cost her if she didn't listen to my advice.
Yeah. And the key here is it's what you're achieving over the home report value as well at this time of year. So another key question is when you're listening at an estate agent is it's not about who sells the most houses in the area. It's who's getting the best value, who's getting the better return at the end of it, who's getting the best price. So the key question here is how much more than the home report on average are you getting percentage wise, and what does that equate to in money? And then what is your average price of your house that you're selling? That's probably key as well, because you don't. I mean, if you've got a £250,000 house, you're not going to choose an agent that's selling loads and loads of flats. But if the agent selling loads and loads of flats are the ones that selling the most properties in the area, why would you choose them? Because they're selling the most properties and they've got the most boards. But a lot of people actually forget that and they don't realise that's the key question to be asked. It's what you're getting more than the home report in percentage terms and actually in monetary terms. So it's not about have you got the most properties on the market. It's how you're going to get the best price and the best circumstances.
Yeah, I think the circumstances piece is a big piece as well, though, because again, many people at the moment who are considering selling are probably thinking, actually, I'm not really wanting to do that because if there's limited stock, well, I actually find something, but someone needs to take the jump, don't they? And if you've got an agent that can also maximize your price, you really need to have an agent as well that can work to your timelines and your entry point. And we've done that recently for quite a few people as well. So that there's multiple factors to it, and it's not always about that number, is it? It's about other parts.
Yeah. Well, you looked at that, didn't you, Perry? You looked at the extra what I got for you, and you said, well, the extra I got for you was basically the money you used to go rent an accommodation, and then you then got the advantage of being able to cherry pick the exact property you wanted, but it actually gave you time to pick the exact property you wanted. Because let me ask you this question. If you had jumped to another property straight away, would you have got the property you've got now?
No.
Aye. And
it's interesting.
Would you have found at the property you've got now, what would have been the property you would have jumped to?
It wouldn't have been my forever home, and that's what I was trying to achieve. And
I'll take a good guess at this after the education that we've had and after the discussions that we've had over the year. I'll take a good guess. You probably would have bought a property which was a lot bigger than you expected and actually paid a lot more money for it.
Absolutely would have done that. And interestingly enough, I was having that conversation this week. Innes, who's joined our team, is in a similar situation that I was in a year ago, and looking at property, and is at that stage where Innes is kind of feeling a little bit like I did, where I started then just looking at everything. And then I started looking at things that were bigger again. And I was thinking, whoa, hang on a minute. The whole point of this was downsizing. But you do kind of fall into panic mode a little bit. You think, no, I need to have a house. I need to have a house. And you do need to step back from it. And that's what I was saying to Innes during the week, actually, is if I could teach you my lessons. And it was a case of just step back. Don't just rush in because it ticks some of your boxes. You've got time on your hands. And as you said, Jim, I lived in rental for a year, didn't cost me anything, because of the job that you did. And so it is about managing all of that and just taking your time and stepping back. And now I've got actually what I really do want and do need.
Yeah. So outdoors, let's talk about the outdoor areas. Outdoors, manicuring your lawn in the depths of winter. Is that entirely possible?
No, that's not possible. But there are some tricks and things that you could do. I mean, outdoor lighting's great, and this is we spoke about it earlier on. This is a great time of year to be able to do that, isn't it? So you can have warm glows in the garden. You can have little trees in your garden with outdoor lights on. You can have lights lighting up your pathway. You get all these beautiful big lanterns now as well with outdoor candles that you can put at your doorstep. So everything's lovely and welcoming and people can come in and enjoy it. Look at the humbug face that you're putting on again.
Believe it or not, a wee bit envious because I walk up my street and everybody's got things like that. They've got all these wee lights. They've got the wee solar powered lights up the driveway and the paths that light up at night. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's just like, oh, I would love to have that. It's like, but I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm
need to
really
get Elaine on
genuinely
that
can't
then.
be bothered. Elaine does all that. Elaine loves all that, and Elaine's brilliant at doing all that. But for me, I'm actually I'm completely I'm a workaholic. I'll admit it. I'll stand up and say I have a confession. I am a workaholic. I love what I do, and it's very difficult for me to drag me away from that. It has to be something compelling that actually stops me, in my tracks and doing that. And I'll do it. I'll do it forever. I'll do it till I'm 6 feet under. That's the reality, and I'll never stop. I mean, I'll probably take off my dad. My dad retired about 4 times. It was a standard joke about, oh god, another retirement party. And it's like, but he loved doing what he did, and he had a passion for it, and he just kept doing it, and he just keeps doing it today. But the front decking, garden, and all the rest of it, I'm going off the tangent here. Everybody's going, where are you going with this? The front decking is absolutely brilliant as well. So probably a quick clean of the decking as well. It's difficult to paint anything at this time of year because of the atmosphere and the way that everything is. So you're probably down to actually just making sure it's all nice and tidy and neat, and there's no flaky paint and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that, but also, making it work for yourself. I mean, we all have our gardens beautiful in the summertime, don't we? But you can still make them beautiful as well in this time of year. And plus, we've got protected covers on our tables and chairs and things like that. For this scenario and your photos and people coming around, you can take those off and put a lantern on it, a nice pot with something seasonal, a bit of colour. Because again, the gardens don't have much colour at this time of year, do they? Because all your beauty is kind of disappearing. It's all green and kind of damp looking. So those little items can make a garden quite nice as well. But don't stack lots of ornamental pieces in there. It's about key little pieces that make the garden look nice, and lighting and colour can play a part in that. And they can be temporary.
If you do have protective covers in that, put them on. And that's the key as well, because you'll be amazed at how your garden furniture just quickly decays straight away because of the season. Because it's the classic example. The water goes in the wee cracks and just expands and contracts with ice and icing up, and eventually your garden furniture starts to fall apart. And it's for the simple aspect of just putting a cover over it and just keep it in good shape. And then it's like what you said, Perry. When you come round to do a viewing, you just whip the cover off.
Just sweep them off
and make it look the part. And that kind of, I'm almost tempted to say, put some seasonal sounds out in the garden. Well, a Bluetooth speaker. A Bluetooth speaker, just something playing in the background. I don't know, some Christmas song, Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Rea or something like that.
That's my favourite.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
So just sort of these typical sort of Christmas themes or something that makes people feel happy. Get a song that makes people feel really happy. Just play it ambient in the background, and that'll tick every box.
Actually, on that note, Ken, I don't want to make this about me and houses again, but when I came to view this house as well, it's the first time that I've ever experienced it. They had left music playing. And it's the first time I've gone into a property when the music was playing. And honestly, the homely feeling and all my senses just went into positive mode about the house before I'd even looked at anything other than that one room I'd gone into.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I felt, oh, that's nice. I like that.
You've got to get a real popular song, though. You've got to get a popular song. You've got to be. I mean, you can't just play Madness. I mean, I love Madness. You can't just play Madness. It Must Be Love or something like that, because not everybody likes that song. I don't know why. There must be something wrong with you if you don't. but you know what I mean. So you have to. It's not about grunge or heavy metal or anything like that. It's like just get a nice song that's quite popular. I mean, the Christmas album that now that's what I call Christmas. You could just haul that out and play it on Spotify and just put it on repeat or something like that. Just ambient in the background while you're doing the viewing. It does really add the character to the place, doesn't it?
Definitely. I love that experience.
And could you imagine that with the decorations and then the Christmas trees in the bay window all lit up, right in the bay window? You could see it right in front of you there. And then you've got maybe Last Christmas playing in the background, just ambient in the background. You've got the decorations around the fireplace. You've got the ambient lights as well, and you've got the candles positioned that quite nicely. Over to the side, there's a tree which has all the cards in, and then you've got a fire in front of you, a log burner fire, actually just crackling away.
That doesn't sound very humbuggish to me.
I know. But and then you've got all these nice cozy throws over your furniture, and just the warmth hits you as you walk in the door in the front. and then you smell that aromatic smell of maybe cinnamon or vanilla in the background, just an underlying smell as you walk in, and it just hits you and you think, wow, this is the place I want to stay. This is my dream home.
Absolutely.
And you can make that happen. You can get that feeling. It can be actually staged. This is all the key here in order to do that.
That's what you're saying. It's like making magical viewings, isn't it?
Yeah, let's talk about the process, viewings. So let's talk about viewings. What about that's the next steps?
Well, I think at this time of year, obviously, we're talking about the Christmas part of it, and the skies are darker. It's, you know, by really 2:30, we're in kind of dark mode. You're putting your lights on and you're making things sparkly. So that can actually be magical and warming, and is all the things you just described there, Jim, actually welcoming for people, isn't it? I
mean, if you're lucky enough to have the open fire in the stove, it's like wow. It's I'll be honest, it's a seller straight away. It's the classic moment in winter where people want the open fire just roaring in the background or the stove, and it just gives that ambient feel, the crackling, as I said before, and well-stocked basket of logs at the side, fuel ready for easy top-ups as well, just in case, you know, because when we come in to do a viewing, on occasions when we do the assisted viewings, and you go out, the fire's in perfect condition when you walk out the door, but we might walk in 5 minutes later, and then we're preparing beforehand, maybe for the first 10 minutes before the viewers arrive. Therefore, the fire's starting to burn down. So the original view of the fire isn't the view anymore. It's possibly lost its sparkle or its crackle. Excuse the pun. I'm here all week. Try the fish. It's lost its crackle. I'm really pulling out the bag today with the Cornish stuff. It's lost its crackle when you think about it, but if having something at the side, just the wee top-ups and stuff like that, and lighters and kindling and stuff, it's easy for us to just throw something on the fire just to keep it going and keep it in that sort of that mode for the successive period of the amount of viewings. Because how long would a viewing take for a 3-bedroom house?
Well, you could be 25 minutes, half an hour, maybe even, depending on
your fire could be dying down by the end of that. And if you want to start in that room and then end up in that room because it's maybe raining outside or it's too cold outside to be outside, or if it's maybe a bit noisier outside, you want to end up in the wild room, and that's the room you want to end up in. So you need to make sure that's going to look its best part when people walk in the door. And that's why you would probably need the top up as well. So, I mean, no one during the day that as well agree some advanced times and warning times with your agent, perhaps 24 hours beforehand. Well, what do we do? What's our policy on viewings? It's usually at least 24, 48 hours beforehand.
Yeah, definitely. Because you need to give preparation time, and it's key to be ready, isn't it? You need to be viewing ready. And what we don't want to do as well, if it's not us doing the viewings, we don't want to put our seller under immense pressure and feel that it's a stressful process trying to get ready for the viewing. So they need to have time to prepare for that. And also, you know, we like to kind of do it so we're not disrupting the homeowner too much too. So you want more than just one viewing coming along. And so if we're doing them in advance, then it gives us an opportunity to get 2, 3, 4 people all in at the same time. So again, you're not distracting the household so much.
So when it comes to viewings, Hive system is brilliant for that, isn't it? You know, for people who've got the Hive system, you know, the heating can be turned on well in advance of the viewing, and that's an ideal system to have, isn't it?
I'd say it's even more important when the property's empty, especially at this time of year, making sure there's heat in the property when the property's empty or not lived in. That is a must do, because you still do need to make it feel warm and cozy when a buyer walks through the door, because they may not be, well, they're going to have their furniture and living in them, probably most likely be their home. So making sure it's warm when it's empty, or even a bit of furniture, if you do have it, would make all the difference as well.
And it's also, if your agent is doing your viewings, it's ensuring that your agent is aware of how your house works. That's really vitally important. I was doing viewings at a property yesterday, and they've got fantastic lighting throughout the house. Some that I've not seen in the floors, the ceiling, the way that it was all done was brilliant. And they also had torches, and they've got this beautiful castle room in the property, and they've got torches up on the wall. and actually they work, but the switch is in the cupboard. So, you know, it's making sure that I knew the switch is in the cupboard and we're there and we're preparing the property and we're putting the torches on and you're getting everything ready to maximise how that property looks. For those warm, cosy days and to give it the right feel.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, there's classic. There's one here. We've got on our website. We have viewings. So I'm just going to share that so everybody sees that. So we've got a YouTube channel and we've got loads and loads of content here. So this is the viewings. So this could set in the scene. Can everybody see that? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is one of the things. So setting the scene, how to be ready for viewings in everyday life straight away. So there's handy tips and hints on our YouTube channel. And we've got about over 100 different helpful guides in order for anybody to get any information they need to know about, you know, doing handy viewings and tips and before the viewing starts. Or even if you want advice on getting the best mortgage or anything else, it's on the YouTube channel. So take time to actually visit that channel and get more information on that. So we can cover that time and time again. But we're actually thinking about putting out more handouts and having an exclusive channel for people to actually list with us, so they have all these helpful guides beforehand, so they can get all that information, and they don't need to worry about the process and how to do it, because we're going to teach them how to do it, aren't we?
100%. 100%.
Okay, so lighting comes into its own a particular time of year. You know, we've probably spoken about this before and recently. Lamps, comfy corners, ambient lighting, as you've said, Perry. You come into multiple viewings every single day. Why not make a thing from them, really? Did you talk about the mince pies and all the rest of it? I mean, I was cooking mince pies in the microwave last night. but it is a motive, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so. I have a lady that completes on Monday, actually. And I did all of our viewings. Margaret, she's a wonderful woman. And every time I went to her property to do the viewings, she had baked cake. And all you could smell through the property was cake. It was beautiful. And shortbread biscuits and, you know, things like that were all lying out. And it, you know, people kind of think, I need to be spotless, I need to be clinical, I need to have everything out the road. It doesn't need to be like that. It can be tidy and nice, but all those smells, just it's very emotive, and it connects you with the house instantly.
And we'll come back to the music as well. Pick the music to suit the person. So the key here is ask your agent, what's the age group of the person that you've got? Classic example is probably if somebody's 60 upwards, Nat King Cole, Nina Simone. If somebody's a wee bit younger, Norah Jones, Michael Bublé, somebody like that. So you've got to understand the music you put on in the background has to suit the person that's coming through the door. So take advantage of that and make sure you actually ask your agent or get your agent to tell you what you should be looking at and how you should be doing it. It's it's maybe me, yeah. You come up going to say it. It's a heartless soul that couldn't resist a coordinated campaign. It's like bah humbug.
But the good thing is,
I'm the typical person that'll walk in the door and go, I know what's happening here. I'm being manipulated.
But you've just went full circle, Jim. You started the show with bah humbug, and then you've shown us all the nice things about it. Don't go back on it now.
True. You know, final thoughts on this then, guys?
Oh, for me, final thoughts. I think that December, it allows you to be ready for things. It's an exciting time. It's all about family. It's all about kids. It's all about also people making decisions. You're at this time of year, everyone's thinking, right, what's next year going to bring for us? You know, what's my plan? What are we going to do? Is it moving house? Is it a holiday? Is it a new car? All these kind of things. People are making decisions at this time of year as well. So I think it's a really great time for you, if you're looking to make a move, to do it now, because other people are starting to think that way. So I think it's a really motivational time. To capture it.
Jimmy?
I would just say, well, if it was me, I would be listing now. Don't get lost in the congested market in the new year, and just know your buyer, so you know how to set your property up in terms of whether it's a family or baking, whatever it may be, smells, so you can best prepare yourself for who's coming through the door.
Yeah, I mean, it's good advice, all good advice that we've talked about in the show. The key here is, if anybody thinks that December is the quietest month of the year, then think again. So how do I know that? Because I deliberately sold a house on Christmas Day, I sold a house on Hogmanay, and I sold a house on New Year's Day to prove that point. It's only as busy or as quiet as the estate agent you're using wants it to be. And I really genuinely mean that. A lot of people actually get to the 14th and actually put their party hats on, whereas I get to the 14th and I think, let's rank it up and let's actually take advantage of this season for our sellers and get the best price and best circumstances, because there's limited supply in the market and there's still that huge demand. There is people out there that will agree to every single condition and every single wish that you want for your circumstances, which means the price, the moving date, the non-refundable deposit, so they can't back out, the concluded missive straight away, and all these different things that you could think of. You'd be surprised at how people will agree to it, because they know that is their dream house. Remember, it's their dream house they want to go to.
Yeah,
that's the key here. This is their dream house. That's why they're buying it. So you're in that position where they don't really have any other choice but to agree to every single term that you want within reason. Remember, I want £1 million and I want it tomorrow. That's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
And on that note, guys, thanks very much for coming. If anybody wants any more information and advice, please feel free to message us direct on this post. Contact us direct in any of the offices as well, or you can email us as well. You can get us more or less through every single channel at every single point in time. We're kind of always available. Kind of sounds sad, but I just love doing it.
Yeah, we all do.
Next week, guys. Bye-bye for now.
Bye,
Thanks, guys.
Have a lovely week.